Hello class, Mr. Garino here. In this video, going to show you how to add animations to your elements on your page, meaning your pictures and your text boxes. So if you click on a picture, and well, before I go into that, let's just say this. You should almost always use entrance animations for pictures. I mean, almost always, like very rarely not. There's also animations that you can choose that are not just entrances. So if I go to animations, and I go, there's some built-in ones here. You can also click this drop down. Notice there's an entrance. You should almost always use those, as I said. There's emphasis and there's exit. There's also some crazy custom motion paths you can use. And you could choose more entrance effects, more emphasis effects, and what that does is bring up this dialog box where you can scroll through and choose all kinds of different things. Okay? So the emphasis and exit animations you should use occasionally, maybe a little bit more than occasionally. Don't get too crazy with those. And then of course you can, or just let you know, you can also combine animations to give yourself your own animation, or your own personalized animation. So that's what we're going to go through here. So let me close this out. Do the simple way first. So I'm going to put an animation on this. I'm just going to click split. When you click that, it shows you a preview. You also have effect options here like we have with the slide transitions, where you can say, okay, right now it's doing vertically, but I want it horizontally. Okay, so you get some basic effect options here. You can click this drop down and you got a few more. I guess maybe they consider these the most popular ones. You could choose more entrance effects here, and that brings up that dialog box. Okay, you can also do this from, I'm sorry, not this one, this button, and see them here. When you hover over, it gives you a preview. Little teeter thing as an emphasis. So entrance is, how does it get there, right? Emphasis is what it does once it's there. Entrance is, how does it go away? You don't always have to use an emphasis or an exit, because it's going to go away when you change from one slide to the next. But an entrance is pretty much you want, because if you don't have an entrance, what happens when you look at this slide, and we'll start the slideshow from the beginning. Okay, there's that honeycomb slide transition. Okay, but now our picture is just there of Buzz Lightyear. The other one's not. So we get to see the whole background. But if you don't have entrances on your elements, they're already covering part of the background, which I think is a little yucky. Okay, so there's our animation on our picture. And then we go to the next slide. And that's the end of the slideshow. So you definitely want to have entrances, I think. Okay, so that's why I say almost always. I hate to say always, because maybe there's some instance where somebody doesn't want it for a specific reason and it actually is good, but that's why I say almost always. The emphasis and the exit, yeah, use some of them. Use them often, but you don't have to do them all the time. It's not exactly necessary. Okay, so you're using this, you're using this, you're using this. There's also another thing, this animation pane. When you click on that, it shows you all your animations in order, and you could reorder them. So I'm going to put a quick animation on this. I'll just do some shape thing, and I'm going to put a quick animation on Buzz Lightyear and say, I don't know, zoom. Maybe after he zooms in, I'm going to make him teeter, because I kind of like that. Oops, it didn't actually add it. It changed it. So let me add animation and say zoom. But now I mean, how's he going to teeter before he's even there? So I need to put this one above there. You can click this to move it up, or you can just hold down and drag it. That works too. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. So I have this, and then I have that, and then I have the text coming in, then Buzz Lightyear's picture, and then a little teeter. Teeter thing's kind of cute. Okay, let's say on this picture, oh, I even forget, it did split. I'm going to change that to fly in. Okay, but if I go to add animation on that picture and I say spin, that's what it's going to do once it's there. Notice it put it at the bottom. That's picture number 2. I really want it to be after right after it flies in. Actually, I don't even want it to be that, but let's just look at it for right now. So it flies in, it spins around, and then we have Buzz Lightyear coming out. We already saw that. So what is it? My goal was really to have it fly in and spin at the same time. Okay, so those are two separate animations built into Microsoft PowerPoint, but I'm going to combine them so it gives it my own animation where something's flying in and spinning at the same time. So while this is selected, I can go up here and where it says start on click, I'm going to say no wait, start with previous. Meaning when I click, these two animations happen at the same time. You'll notice that the duration of the fly-in is half a second, 0.5. The duration of the spin is 2 seconds. So it's going to fly in and be done flying in and still be spinning. Let's see how that looks. So here we go. So it flew in and it still spun. So I say, well, maybe you like that, maybe you don't. A lot of this stuff is preference. Personally, that wasn't my goal. I wanted it to fly in and spin and both animations stop at the same time. So I thought it flew in a little fast. I thought it spun a little slow. One's a half, one's 2. Maybe I make them both 1 1/4. Why 1 1/4? I don't know. I just chose that. Let's take a look. So here, as you're doing these animations, very important, always preview, always look at your slideshow. Make sure things are looking the way you want, because just designing it isn't what people are going to, they're not going to look at your design, they're going to look at your finished product. So you need to play it for yourself and make sure it looks the way you want. So I'm going to play this now and see if this is indeed what I was thinking of. I like that. That's what I wanted. So now I have it. Something else I really should show you as well with the animations. One last thing. Even if I previously said one last thing, here's one more one last thing. How's that for not making sense? If you right click on an animation, you can go to Effect Options, and that brings up a dialog box where you can change some things. So this is my spin of the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I can change timings, which you can also do over here, but I didn't find anywhere on the ribbon where you can do this. Here's the amount of the spin. It's 360 and it's going clockwise. I can drop this down and choose any of the defaults here, change clockwise to counterclockwise, full spin, half spin, whatever, quarter spin, custom. This is pretty cool. Let's say you don't want it to spin just once. Let's say you want it to spin twice. 720 would be 2 full spins. And it didn't take it. I don't know why. Maybe I have to hit enter. There we go. And then say OK. So now you can see it spins twice. It's going to spin much faster because it still has to get done in the same amount of time. Not saying this is going to look good. It might look worse. But let's take a look. Just to show you that you can do that. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But that was one other thing I felt I needed to show you, was that you can right click over here and go to Effect Options and get some additional options that aren't really available on the ribbon. Okay, so a lot of different things you can do with your animations. I showed you all the different buttons and features. Please make sure you use enough of them to keep our attention when you're showing our slideshow. That's what PowerPoint is all about. I absolutely hate when people show me a slideshow and nothing's animated. You could just give me a Microsoft Word document at that point. Why are we looking at a slideshow? I think I made my point. Thank you.